Yo, Xnel here, and today I have a quick guide for you for Kujou Sara and Ryden Shogun, both in one video. You can skip to this timestamp for the Ryden Shogun part. So Kujou Sara is basically an attack buffer. She's like an Electro Bennett, but she doesn't heal, and instead of using the burst to attack buff, she uses her elemental skill. So the advantage is you don't need to have burst up for you to attack buff your party members. Do take note that in this video I have a C6 Kujou Sara. Her C2 changes how her elemental skill plays. So if I do an elemental skill, she will jump back. Now you can ignore that purple orb there, that is part of the constellation. If you don't have a constellation, there will be no purple orb. Now, if you do a charge attack after doing elemental skill, you will fire a purple orb, which will then explode. Any active character that was in the AoE when it exploded will get an attack buff. So the attack buff from Kujou Sara relies on this bonus ratio right here, 73% at a level 9 skill. Now this number is multiplied by base attack only, same as Bennett. If you check your attributes, it is this white number on the attack, and this is affected only by two things: the character base attack plus the weapon base attack. So you want to maximize the character level for more base attack, and you want to use the highest base attack weapon that you have. So naturally, for higher attack buff, you would want to prioritize her elemental skill when leveling up talents. Next is her burst, and then for normal attack, you can really leave it at level 1. The only reason why I have it at level 6 is I want to try out a physical build Kujou Sara. One more thing you have to take note of is when you do a charge attack after doing her elemental skill, you might want to shoot it at the ground where you're at, and then your other character will get the attack buff. However, this does not gain you energy particles. If you shoot it at an enemy, however, you can get energy particles, like so. So we can ignore that because that's constellations. Then you can shoot at the enemy, dash in, and then when it explodes, you gain energy particles. So that's one thing you may have to think about when using your elemental skill. It will depend on your playstyle and your team composition on which one suits you better. Shooting it on the ground where you're at, or shooting it at an enemy and then dashing in to catch the attack buff. Now her burst also deals good damage. The scaling on this at level 9 is 696%. And any active character within the AoE of the burst does get the attack buff that has the same ratio as her elemental skill. So what you can do in combat is use E, get an attack buff, Q, then switch to your main DPS for an attack buff. So as you can see right now, my Ayaka has a 3000 attack, which came from the burst of Kujou Sara. Now for the weapons, the number one recommended is the Skyward Harp, simply because it has the highest base attack out of all the bows. So just use whatever highest base attack bow you have and slap it on your Kujou Sara if you only need the attack buff. For 4 stars, I do love the Sacrificial Bow on Kujou Sara because it has the highest base attack out of all the 4 stars, tied with Blackcliff Warbow. However, she does get the sweet energy recharge from the Sacrificial Bow. Artifacts, 4-piece Noblesse Oblige. Now, if you have another character in the team who is already using the 4-piece Noblesse Oblige, then I would recommend the 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fate. For Sands, I recommend Energy Recharge if you are not able to spam that burst, but if you are able to spam that burst because you have Energy Recharge substats and an Energy Recharge weapon, then you can go for an Attack Sands. For Goblet, Electro Damage bonus, and then for Circlet, Crit Rate or Crit Damage, whichever is lacking. Now, you don't really need any constellations to make Kujou Sara work. At C0, she is fine as an attack buffer. C1 is a little bit of a cooldown reduction on her elemental skill. It's not a big deal. C2, however, is a great quality of life upgrade for Kujou Sara when it comes to team rotations, because you won't have to charge shot after using E. So this is what it looks like. You press E with Kujou Sara, switch to another character, there's already an attack buff without having to do a charge shot with Kujou Sara. C4 gives more lightning from her burst, and C6 is going to be a big fat crit damage bonus on Electro characters when they do have the attack buff from Kujou Sara. Now this is really good, but it is only for Electro characters, so do keep that in mind. And that's pretty much all you need to know about Sara. She's great in any team comp, just like Bennett, because she can buff the attack of any party member. If you do have Electro focused team comps, then her C6 is gonna be insane value. Now let's move on to Ryden Shogun. So Ryden Shogun works as a sub DPS and quick swap character. You use her elemental skill, then you swap to your other characters, use the bursts of your other characters, which gives her stacks of her passive, and then when you have full stacks, switch to Ryden Shogun, use her burst, and then stay on field for as long as the burst is up, kill everything, and then repeat the process all over again. So the main mechanic you have to think about is this circular thing on her back. Now this circular thing stays on whatever active character you have on the field. So anytime any character uses their burst except for Ryden Shogun, Ryden Shogun will gain stacks of resolve. The maximum amount of resolve is 60, and you will know that when the whole circle is glowing purple. Now, the higher the burst cost of the character, the more resolve stacks Ryden Shogun gets. So characters with 80 energy cost burst will fill up this circle faster. And then when you have max resolve, you get bonus damage on your burst, which you can see right here. So that's 6.22% more damage on the initial slash per stack, and 1.16% per normal attack that you're doing while in burst. So playing with a Ryden on your team would look something like this. First, use E, then switch to your other characters, use their skills, switch to Bisai, use my skills, switch to my Kujou Sara, and then I'll use the Sayo burst. And then as you can see, the circle is now full. You can do Q with Ryden Shogun and then just destroy everything. Oh. That's not a good example. Whatever, it's not complicated. Just use your E and then switch to your other characters, use all of their skills and bursts, and then switch back to Ryden Shogun, use her burst, and then kill everything, rinse and repeat. For weapon, the best one is of course the one on the banner, Engulfing Lightning. Now for other 5 stars, these are in order assuming all their passives are activated. So that's Engulfing Lightning, Staff of Homa, Vortex Vanquisher, Primordial Jade Wing Spear, and then Skyward Spine. Now for the 4 stars, there is no question, just use the Catch. The Catch and Skyward Spine will have similar output. I don't want to see any comments asking, hey Xnel, can I use Favonius Lance? Just use the Catch, it's the best 4-star for Ryden Shogun, and yes, you're gonna have to do some fishing. For her artifacts, it is 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fate, the best. Don't even bother farming anything else. This artifact set is made for Ryden Shogun because Ryden Shogun gets electro damage bonus from energy recharge. The higher energy recharge she has, the more electro damage bonus she gets, and this is where it gets interesting when building her. On Sands, I recommend Energy Recharge, and then this will give you lots of electro damage bonus coupled with her Energy Recharge Ascension stat, which means you will want attack percent on your goblet because the high electro damage bonus needs something to multiply it with, so you want to get more attack from the goblet. And then for your circlet, it's gonna be crit rate or crit damage, whichever you're lacking. Let me clarify that the Energy Recharge Sands and the attack percent goblet is a general rule. There will be some exceptions depending on the substats of your artifacts, so I recommend you use a damage calculator when comparing the artifacts that you have. Plug in your values, see which one gives you better damage. Now for constellations, her C1 is amazing if you're using Electro characters. Remember we talked about how the burst of other characters will give her stacks of resolve. Now if you have C1, Electro characters will give 80% more resolve, and then other characters with other elements will give 20% more resolve. So this is great value, but in order to maximize it, you gotta use Electro characters in your team comp. C2 gives a whopping defense percent decrease of 60% when she uses her burst. C4 gives her more support capabilities where when her burst ends, other characters will gain 30% attack bonus for 10 seconds. Her C6 gives her more support capability. It's not going to give her some insane damage or something. What it does is when you use her burst and use attacks, you will decrease the elemental burst cooldown of your other characters up to a maximum of 5 seconds. So in my opinion, the C6 and the C4 are not really worth it. I think it would be great to stop at C2 or maybe C3 to increase the damage of her burst. So talent priority is going to be the burst and then the elemental skill. Then you can also leave the normal attack at level 1 because this does not affect the burst damage. So that's it for the Kujou Sara and Ryden Shogun guide. I hope you guys found this useful and found it quick and easy, which is what I wanted when I made this video. So you can catch me live on fb.gg/xnelph. I go live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we do have a Discord community of over 10,000 members. A lot of them love Genshin Impact, and you can play with other people, find parties, and just discuss Genshin in general. I'll see you in the Discord. Watch this. Let me show you how I do it in the Xnel pool services. 50-50 Ryden Shogun. Watch this. Bam! I mean, if this was me, I'd be happy. I don't know if you're happy with this. You gotta